One of the underrated ranked matchups of week 4 is going to be UCLA and Utah. These are two teams that in the Pac-12 fly under the radar, mostly because everybody has their attention on USC. They have their attention on Colorado. They have their attention on Oregon. They have attention on Washington. This is a conference that's absolutely stacked when it comes to quality talent. And UCLA and Utah are two of those teams. It's just that nobody's really talking about them. Now, when you don't win a ton of big games or win convincingly, people tend to move on from that. They go to what's popular, hence you see Colorado. They go to what they've seen before, hence USC and Oregon, and they go to a team that's continuing to prove their worth in Washington. But these are two teams that deserve their respect, and it's going to be a really exciting game featuring two kind of different styles. The first thing that I think Utah needs to do in order to win this game is confuse Dante Moore. Dante Moore is a phenomenal freshman who is finally taking command of this offense, and he has looked really good so far. Small sample size, but still looks really good. Utah has to do everything in their power to be able to slow him down. I think that he is an extremely talented player with both his arm and his legs. Utah's defense is absolutely stacked. They're +4 in turnover margin. They're 18th in yards allowed. This is a team that knows how to stop other teams. They know how to create turnovers and they know how to make life difficult for the opposing quarterback. They should do that again against Dante Moore. It's just a matter of how much they can do that. Because when you're going against a Chip Kelly offense, you know that he's intelligent to game plan way ahead and figure out ways to beat you. And there's a couple things with that. Finding a way to complement the run. Right now, both these teams are really good at running the football, whether that's quarterback run, whether that's running backs, you name it. These two teams know how to get the job done on the ground. Complementing the run with the pass is the biggest thing. Now, Utah's situation at quarterback is a little bit more up in the air. Nate Johnson had a solid game last week. I think that we are just waiting to hear whenever Cam Rising will come back. We don't know. But right now, throwing the ball is not exactly on the agenda. They're 115th in passing yards a game. UCLA is 51st. So UCLA technically better, but there's definitely room for improvement. So finding a way to complement the run will be the biggest way to ensure you get a lead, you get a comfortable lead, and then you find a way to win the game. We talked about these two teams and what they can do. Chip Kelly going against this Utah defense, finding ways to outflank each other, whether that's Utah running a different look and sending different pressures, sending different blitzes, you name it. Any way that they can confuse Dante Moore, they can confuse Chip Kelly, the latter being tougher than the former, will do a lot in determining how close this game will be because UCLA's offense can also be very multiple in what they do. They can move around different tight ends, they can move around extra linemen, they can give you different formations that put you in a tough situation. And Utah's experienced defense is good, but Chip Kelly is also a brilliant mind that can outflank any defense and find ways to create mismatches and find ways to get guys wide open. The other thing that go with that is pacing. Right now, UCLA can put up points in a hurry. They're an explosive offense that wants to get in the end zone as quickly as possible. It's not that Utah doesn't want to, they just don't have the personnel to do that. They will take their time, they will be efficient, and they will make sure that they dictate the pace both on offense and defense. And a lot of that starts with the quarterback play because both of these guys must be efficient. I don't think that UCLA's offense will be able to put up points at the clip that they've done so far this season, but I think Dante Moore has a lot of that pressure to be able to stay calm, even though you're not going to be able to hit the big plays as much as you'd like. You still have to find a way to be efficient. You may not pick up 30, 40-yard plays. Those 30, 40-yard plays might come in the form of a 7 or 8 yard gain. But if you can continuously do that, you will wear down this Utah defense. You'll find a way to win. Nate Johnson has to become more of a factor as a passer. They can find a way to run the football with him as much as you want, run Jaquindon Jackson as much as you want, being able to throw the ball because they have talent to utilize. It's just a matter of doing it. And right now, Nate Johnson is just getting his footing. He's, I think, starting to get a little bit more comfortable. But if you're able to throw the ball better and open up things for the rushing attack, only good things can happen. And I think that both of these offenses, yes, a lot of pressure is on the quarterbacks, but you have to look in the trenches. This is one of the best matchups in the country in terms of battles in the trenches. Both teams have really talented offensive lines, and both teams have front sevens that will maul plenty of teams. I think both have really stepped up this year. There were some questions with you lose certain people and you do return key pieces, but I think that there were some questions about these defensive lines, these linebacker groups, and both of them have delivered so far. So I think it's going to be an absolute battle, and that's where it comes to being efficient offensively. Because if you can't move the ball as explosively as you want, you have to be able to pick up first downs consistently. And whether that takes one play or three, you have to stay calm and understand this is the type of game you're going to play. But if UCLA can get those chunk plays and outflank this Utah defense, that opens up the offense a little bit more, that gives them more opportunities. And that it makes it a tremendous advantage if you're able to do that. But again, all that starts in the trenches. I think there's so many talented players that you could talk about, both quarterbacks, obviously, the defensive lines, the linebackers. There's so many players that you can look at and think, wow, this game has the potential to be extremely entertaining. It could be a back and forth battle. It could be a low scoring affair. It could be a high scoring affair. I'm not saying Utah can't score points. I'm saying that that's not the game they want to play. And I say that as last year, they pretty much outscored USC twice. So this is a team that can definitely put up points. It's just that this year's team is definitely not last year's team. And Cam Rising's health, even if he's in the lineup, this is not the Cam Rising from 2022. He still needs time to get going once he does get back into the lineup. And it's going to take some time. Nate Johnson is not Cam Rising. He's going to have to work with his own skill set and find a way to just be more efficient. If you're picking this game, I think that Utah has gotten pretty lucky in a couple of games. I think that beating Florida, the defense did, and I say lucky as in their defense did their part and their offense did just enough. Last week, especially against Baylor, that was a lot of luck. Yes, their defense did their part, but their offense didn't really do much until the end, and they kind of lucked into a 3-0 start. Finding ways to beat UCLA will require more effort than beating Florida and beating Baylor. These are two teams that are drastically different than what UCLA will provide. So right now, UCLA to me is the better team. I think they win this game, but unless Utah finds a way to pull out another incredible performance defensively, I think that as long as Dante Moore takes care of the football, the Bruins take care of business.